Hello and welcome to Doing Business in Rwanda. My name is Michael Mjisha. On this particular episode, we took a look at Rwanda's economy backbone, of course, the agriculture sector that is seeing upward trends with growth in export revenues up to 44%. Now, we sit down with our different stakeholders and discuss the opportunities and some of the challenges that has been faced in the 2017-2018 financial year and some of the ways to move forward with this. This is Doing Business in Rwanda.
We believe that it's very important to do this kind of exchange because as the Rwanda Development Board, we're trying to increase investments in our country. And we're trying to bring new investments from out of the country, but also to have the ones that are investing in our country expand. And there's no better way to know how well you're doing or to hear back on what needs to be done from those who are already on the ground, who are already investing, and who are probably going to be your best ambassadors to even bring others.
We just showed them the fourth strategic plan that we launched in July for agriculture transformation. And then we showed them the opportunities that are into the sector. And we made the strategic plan for agriculture transformation in such a consultative way that we came up with the priorities that are addressing the current issues that the private sector is facing.
According to statistics by the National Agriculture Exports Development Board, Rwanda's agriculture exports grew by 44% or 447 billion Rwandan francs in the financial year 2017-2018. The country, currently winning at international markets with its famous coffee, seeks to navigate the uncharted African markets.
When you look at what all of these export earnings that we keep talking, they are exported at a European market or American market. So now what we are discussing, how do we look even inside of our own continent? Because that is very, very key, because Africa is bigger than any continent that you can think of. So also trading among ourselves, it's even cheaper, and the requirements are even easier to deal with than the requirements that we meet when we are exporting on international markets.
The key strategic goal in supporting agriculture for us today is exports. Already we export coffee, tea, flowers, and vegetables, but we want those to grow. We want two main things from agriculture. We want to increase the production of what we can export out of the country, so we have more volumes of tea, more volumes of coffee, more volumes of flowers and of vegetables, and other areas that we're looking at as well. But the second important component of agriculture for us is to sell value-added products. So how can we sell tea that has been transformed, even if it's one step forward? If you look at the example of coffee, even just washing coffee almost doubles the price. So that is already a step. So even if it's one step, two steps into the value chain, we're happy to see that being done in the country.
To be honest, Africa has more demand. On that note, we've been focused much on the Europe. But if you look at the population we have in Africa, 1.2 billion people, that's a lot of people. So if they open up this, we're going to do more business. So, and I'm happy that today Rwanda is looking ahead by planning to 2063 something. So that's a big plan for the country. And to me, it is a deal, having such sittings, arrangements, to look ahead. I saw the slogan about, here was about planning for wealthy. That's a key word to look at.
Farmers in Rwanda are adopting new technologies to optimize the value chain. A move expected to curb losses suffered from the farm to the market.
In the grain value chain in Rwanda, we have experienced quite some significant losses. Farmers are experiencing a lot of losses as a result of the changing weather patterns. You can't predict the rains anymore as it used to be so many years ago. So we have to intervene with technology. Drying system and packaging system can actually help farmers go around those type of challenges.
Our sugar is operating just the merchants. So what happened with this issue is there's too much rainfall. We heat so much. We lost almost 42% of our land, which is equivalent to around 3,000 acres of land being affected by the floods. So that means that you have no sugar cane to crush, so the factory is not doing well. I'm happy that today you're having this meeting because President NAEB and the government, because they are thinking about the solutions long term. One of the key issues that they are mentioning is the resilience of the economy, sustainability. So our plan is to look for an upland where we can do irrigations. So we supplement this land with other irrigation, and then we're able now to balance the two. At least you have bigger land, upland, and then you have this area which is prone for marshland. So if it happens that it rains so much, at least you have an alternative for having the upland where you can do irrigation and have the sugarcane to crush.
We still have a lot of work to do in order to increase the level of mechanization in agriculture. So private sector needs to be mobilized, and also the government also needs to play its part and invest more and together with the private sector in order to increase the level of mechanization in Rwanda. The demand for mechanization services in Rwanda has grown very fast. Farmers have seen the results when comparing to conventional methods of farming, and more farmers are requesting for mechanization services. So also another challenge that we see, especially with the land use, we need to consolidate more land in Rwanda. Everybody knows that Rwanda is not a big country, but the arable land that we have is enough to produce on a commercial scale, but we need to consolidate in order to use mechanization more effectively.
According to Ivan Ruzibiza, the managing director at SGES Agro, farmers in Rwanda still face numerous challenges like the skills gap, low levels of technology use, and access to finance, as banks don't see them as financially solvent.
They are not attractive to the banks. So as a result, there is always a challenge when it comes to access to financial services. And as far as access to market is concerned, I think one of the biggest hindrances in Africa is the infrastructure. But it is worthy to note in Rwanda that we've done quite a lot on the infrastructure side, and farmers are able to deliver whatever produce to the main markets around the country.
Every year we have a partnership with the Israeli government where we send graduates for 11-month internship. So those coming with the ones who graduated from Rwanda, they blend very well and they have new ideas. But also we created another internship way in partnership with NAEB and then National Capacity Building Secretariat to make sure that majority of young people who graduate, they get exposed for a period of 1 year to what is happening in real agriculture community. So they are attached to producers cooperatives, and we do our best wherever we have money to make sure that we are also contracting the ones who are capable, so that we build the financial capital on them in case they want to venture into the private sector business of agribusiness. At least they have been building a financial capital on them.
We've seen in our agriculture transformation plan, there is a component on innovation and technology. So that is really the youth today talk innovation, they talk technology. If you give them something cool, something that is very techy, and apply that to agriculture, and then it makes sense. So we're promoting ideas, whether it's apps or software that are developed, or even just ideas that transform and bring technology to transform the agriculture sector. That is how we see ourselves attracting the youth, by really giving them the language or the relevance of the modern world, so that they can see agriculture not as what was being done by the parents in the villages, but something that is relevant today and right now and is really profitable.
We have some young people who are into production, livestock, crops, horticultural commodities, but also we have young people who are into the value addition. So it is exciting. I mean, exciting when you go to the Made in Rwanda. You see a lot of young people adding value to agricultural commodities. And the reason that is exciting is that is the market. So whenever there is a market, whenever there is a value addition, that also pulls the productivity. So, and at the ministry, we have been at forefront of that, because in 2016, I guess, we created this Rwanda Youth in Agribusiness Forum, so that we can at least start to excite them to know what is in agriculture, and then they are linked to the website, so they have made their own portal.
In Rwanda, we've really worked very hard to make agriculture viable. We give tax incentives. If you're exporting agriculture or processing, you can get up to seven years tax holidays. You can get 15% corporate income tax, which is a 50% reduction. Agriculture inputs and raw materials for production are, zero rated for taxes. Inputs like machinery that are used for value addition are also exempted from taxation, or they're rated at zero. And this really helps to make it attractive and viable. You've seen today we have a lot of linkages with the banks, the Development Bank of Rwanda, insurance companies. How do we bring the financial sector to really back the sector? So to really make the youth find this attractive, it's really addressing the issue of innovation and technology, but also making it viable. And then also training the youth directly, to build their skills. You've heard of the Howard Buffett School that is being built in Rwanda. Right? Yes, and that is targeting really skills for agriculture. So we're really working hard to make sure that all these components that are important are being developed simultaneously.
To me, the future is bright, given the government support, because the government is ready for Made in Rwanda, and we are in also as investors. We are willing to put in more money. So I think this synergy, if it works well, we're going to see things move. Like I mentioned about ethanol, I mentioned about power generation. In the processed sugar, they have to call bagasse. Bagasse, now apparently, for example, Kabuye itself, the small as it is, we consume daily, we utilize 1 megawatt. 80% is produced by Kabuye itself. Well, as other factors come and demand for electricity, for us, we are actually bringing in electricity on board. So it is another way that we want to do mega things and make sure we now utilize the smaller things we have, the resources we have in the economy. So we'll be able to totally substitute ethanol imported in Rwanda. We'll also be able to substitute 80% of the demand of the sugar, also produce 4 megawatts export to national grid. And we are talking this with experience. This is being done in Uganda under Kakira, Madvan Group. So I want to replicate the same in Rwanda.
Ending on a positive note there, of course, with investors seeking to invest even more into Rwanda's agriculture sector and looking at the vast opportunities that this is bringing on the table. Now, allow us to leave it right here for this episode of Doing Business in Rwanda. If you have any feedback, be sure to send us an email to dbir@abn360.com or tweet us directly at dbirwanda. My name is Michael Mjisha, and from the entire Doing Business in Rwanda team, thank you very much for joining us.